Alright, so I confess. I checked a spoiler-free walkthrough. What the hell? Oh, bums. Alright, that's not gonna pick up or anything. Okay. So yeah, I had to check a spoiler-free walkthrough because I didn't know what to do. Apparently, talking to the dude isn't talking to Lang. That's a little bit different, so I missed doing that. That's apparently kind of important. 3 flower beds and snow. Agent Lang, what's the matter? Something strange. I wasn't able to read the SS-5 incident case files until now. Since Blaze had all access to that information restricted. Yeah, that's right. And yet I feel like I've seen this exact scene somewhere before. What do you mean? Where did I see this? If I could just remember. He looks deep in thought. I should leave him alone for a while. We've learned pretty much everything we can about the situation at the matter at this time.
Oh, in that case, is there another scene you'd like to recreate?
Yes, would you do the honors? I would like you to recreate the scene when the victim witnessed the president's kidnapping.
Right, I'll recreate the scene based on Mr. Cameron's photo.
She could just, like, become rich marketing that thing. Fuck, sell it to, investigate. Sell it to Interpol, man. You would patent that shit. You would be so rich so quickly. That's an incredibly useful tool.
Mr. Cameron is standing in the middle of the flower bed. And the president and his kidnappers are standing on the road. My old man based his initial investigation on this man's eyewitness testimony. As a result, it led him to believe the kidnapping and this facility were related.
And that's how he came to suspect the head of the orphanage, Patricia Rowland.
Yeah. But in court, Blaze threatened. Treated his testimony as if it meant nothing.
Why would he do that? Cut a deal with her, probably.
The president and his kidnapper were not standing inside the orphanage grounds, so a connection between the orphanage and the kidnapping was difficult to prove.
I don't know about that. They are clearly right in front of it. It's possible he was just passing by, I suppose.
I see. It's not like they were seen inside the orphanage, after all.
It would definitely be a stronger connection if they were inside the orphanage. The he was just passing by argument is a bit more sound if, in fact, he's not seen in the orphanage and is just out in front of it.
No matter how much evidence the detectives gather at the crime scene, it doesn't mean squat if the prosecutor won't use it in court. Blaze at best had some kind of connection with Patricia Rowland. I figured they had some kind of deal going on. In other words, you think that Blaze was one of the kidnappers.
Blaze had Patricia found not guilty. Were they partners in crime? Probably. However, your father was convinced that Patricia Rowland was the culprit. Your father was a highly capable investigator, I presume. Might he have had some other basis for the conclusion besides the eyewitness testimony?
Yeah, I figured he did, but I had no idea what it was. My old man never really talked much about the case.
Agent Lang's father, Dai Long Lang. President Huang's most trusted confidant. The truth he discovered was suppressed by Blaze DeBest. What a dick. First, we must find that hidden truth. Moment of the incident. Okay. Oh, I can change the recreation back to the other one. Change recreation. How about not? I think this is good. Although, I don't know if this is particularly accurate, because he's supposed to, call his girlfriend first, right? And leave a message. And then he gets brained with the stupid brick. And the blood definitely shouldn't be there. Alright, well, suppose we'll examine this scene first. Cameron took a photo of the president from this spot.
And he also called Miss Crane, right?
At that time, the killer was already behind him.
Holding the murderous brick.
So, what if I examine the killer? Nah, it's just the same. Okay. Alright. Time for the far more interesting guys on the street. I won't rest until I've inspected every suspicious-looking nook and cranny. Well, obviously... Oop. I should do a playthrough of Chrono Trigger at some point. Alright, Nathan. Well, there's the Nathan interruption 5 minutes in, but, why Chrono Trigger specifically? I mean, I've played it before. I haven't beaten it in years. I started to replay it on the DS, I think, but I never got around to finishing it. Also don't know why he thinks Chrono Trigger in particular. Also, that game is huge! I'm already so invested in a lot of these huge games. Looking at you, Xenoblades, and, this game, and, yeah, it's definitely out by now. And Mass Effect. Okage isn't that big, because I can just fucking breakneck through that game like the pro that I am. But, Pokemon hacks are certainly nothing to sneeze at. I'll put Chrono Trigger on a back burner, I suppose. I tried playing a JRPG a while ago, Breath of Fire, but A, that game's kind of bleh. I prefer Breath of Fire 2, if I'm perfectly honest, but the request was for Breath of Fire 1, and B, no one was really watching that, and I wasn't having any fun playing it, so I just kind of said fuck it and stopped playing. There's another one somebody requested, Death Trap Dungeon. That game's a piece of crap, though. Like, it has not aged well, visually or gameplay-wise, so I decided no. Never heard of it, but, you know, it was interesting to look at for like 10 minutes. Every suspicious looking nook and cranny. Well, let's get the snowman. That is a cynical-looking snowman. He is very snide.
About this snowman. When we recreated the scene when Cameron was killed, it had already melted, and its scarf was all soggy, and one of its button eyes was missing.
Indeed, at this stage it appears that most of its original form was still intact. Although there's one spot that looks unnaturally lacking.
Poor thing, I bet some naughty kid must have plucked it off. Although from a thief's perspective, that kid does have some promise.
Or was it plucked off by one of the children at the orphanage? No, perhaps. It was taken by an entirely different person altogether. Well, I can deduce that, but, Alright, that's a fair assumption. I was going to say, if Little Thief is really going to recreate a handprint, down to like, ooh, we can get some fingerprint action going on, I'm gonna call bullshit. But, given we know about the button that was in Cameron's possession, that's fair. That's a fair assumption. This snowman, wouldn't you say it's missing something?
Yeah, the nose. Duh. Ah, its right eye is missing.
Precisely, and what's more, that missing eye happens to be in our possession. Sort of.
The button that Mr. Cameron was holding on to. It's got the exact same design as the snowman's left eye.
If you say so, I didn't get that good of a look. If we assume this button was indeed the snowman's eye, a huge contradiction arises. What? Location of victim, location of snowman, location of president.
Well, we don't know when he took it, Edgeworth.
He might have just, you know, happened to brush by and been like, hey, a button, neat. Maybe he's a dick. You don't know. Well, in the photo, the snowman is very clearly next to the president, which... Let me check this organizer. Where's this photo? Here it is. Okay. Well, that's very clearly the snowman. And that's very clearly the president. I suppose, depth-wise, it might be kind of weird, but, you know, he can't be that far away from it, all things considered. There's the gunman. There's a streetlight. Is there a streetlight here? Well, streetlight is in between him and the wall in this shot. Can't really say here. Location of the victim, location of snowman. I think the victim, he might have been significantly closer. Because the gate is very clearly, the gate and the streetlight are all very clearly there, and the snowman's right there. Well, wait a minute, hold on. What if it's the other angle? Like, he's standing inside the orphanage, and this is the other side of the wall. Ah, but the streetlight is on the outside. Yeah, the streetlight's on the outside. That can't be it. So I guess location of the victim? The victim was holding on to the button. Furthermore, the button was stained with blood. In other words, he grabbed the button after he was attacked. For example, if we were to picture it this way. After being struck in the back of the head, Mr. Cameron lost his balance. As he was falling, he reached out his hand towards the nearby snowman. However, it could not support his weight, and he collapsed while grasping the button. Well, naturally.
Huh? That means... that means Mr. Cameron was near the snowman when he was attacked.
Indeed, at the very least he must have been within arm's reach. However, it's quite clear he would not have been able to reach it from his current position.
But Mr. Cameron's footprints only lead towards the flower bed.
There's also a ton of blood around there, so how did they move the blood? Can we be certain that those footprints really are Mr. Cameron's? Well, we can be certain the blood is. I assume testing was done. It seems we need to investigate them one more time.
Understood. I'll recreate the time the body was discovered scene once more.
I mean, I don't know if we were done, but whatever.
These footprints should match up with Mr. Cameron's shoes, right?
Let's inspect them again. Sure. These footprints, are they really Mr. Cameron's?
They're from size 11 shoes, and these huge footprints match up with Mr. Cameron's shoes. No matter how you look at it, they're moving steadily towards the center of the flower bed.
But when Mr. Cameron was attacked, he grabbed the button from the snowman.
Even with a great thief's peak human conditioning, your arm just can't stretch that far.
That's quitter talk, okay?
Let alone an ordinary civilian.
Hey, what are your guys' thoughts on me playing Chrono Trigger? Since it's relevant, I mean, he messaged me in the middle of this episode. Yay, nay. That's one vote for yay, clearly. I wouldn't mind playing Chrono Trigger. I find that game to be quite fun. But, again, I haven't beaten it since I was a kid, and I got to the part playing the DS game after Chrono leaves, without spoiling anything. So I think that's about halfway through.
Let alone an ordinary civilian, it'd be completely impossible.
The footprints come from the shoes worn by the victim, just as the case files say. However, does that mean Mr. Cameron was the owner of these shoes? We should re-examine Mr. Cameron's shoes. We're getting into some deep CSI stuff here. They put fake shoes on the guy and then walked his corpse over? These shoes should match the footprints. However... these shoes? It seems like they're not the ones originally worn by the victim. They do appear to me more like dress shoes or loafers than, say, the sneakers or boots that are being presented.
What do you mean?
If you look closely, you'll see the laces were tied strangely. If you say so, that's not something I or anyone else could see from this particular angle, but whatever. And the size doesn't seem to quite fit either. Well, the style of the shoe is clearly different from the footprint, but again, that might have just been on the artist. Victim shoe data jotted down in my organizer. Whatever, they're different shoes.
That would mean these huge footprints leading up to the victim's feet were most likely made by someone other than the victim. So then, the footprints leading to and from the victim's head must be Mr. Cameron's.
No, not necessarily. They seem a little too small to be the victim's footprint.
So none of the footprints are his? Then which way did Mr. Cameron walk from?
It's quite simple. The victim did not walk here of his own accord, but rather, he was carried here after the murder of the culprit. I guess, yeah, if you dump a fresh body, that would still bleed plenty, but there would be, you know, a blood trail, don't you think? The question now becomes, where was he killed and carried from? Near the snowman. Perhaps it was near the snowman after all? Well, how do I do that? How do I get Kay to... First of all, alright, so I've got some shit. Murder weapon brick. Was Blaze a kidnapper? Body was moved. What did Blaze dig up? They partners in crime. Well, this has both Blaze. Body was moved. Murder weapon brick. Other than... Again, what did he dig up in the murder weapon? I figured that would be... Whoops. I figured that would be a connection, but apparently it's not. Partly because, you know, the murder weapon... I would think the real murder weapon or something, but, you know. What did Blaze dig up? Was Blaze a kidnapper? Other than those both concerning Blaze, I don't really see how those two would connect together in a strand of logic. Well, go ahead and change it again, I guess, Kay. Recreate the scene based on Mr. Cameron's eyewitness testimony. Yeah, sure. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. Let's re-examine, let's examine something other than the snowman, shall we?
The president was strong, but there's no way he'd win against a gun.
And Mr. Cameron photographed the scene from the middle of the flower beds. There's something highly unnatural about this.
It would have been impossible for him to grab the snowman's button from there.
Indeed, we should examine the statue of the state of the other recreation once more. Ah, alright, so that's the game telling me, no, I'm in the wrong recreation. Very well. By the way, do you notice how when Kay is talking from the side, you can see her whole mouth? There's still, like, a bit of skin. That is a very anime and manga art style. Whereas more Western comics and animation, traditional drawing method, I suppose, they don't do that. They, well, it's, strictly speaking, it's an animation technique. It's... I might have phrased this poorly. It's really common in anime, less so in manga, because in manga it doesn't matter. You can just draw the mouth however you want, and they go for the angles. However, you will usually see in a lot of, say, fan-made games, still shots, the mouth is on one side, which means that that person learned how to draw from looking at cartoons and anime, because it's an animation trick. When the mouth is all on one side and is moving like that, you don't need to animate their chin as well. You just need to animate the mouth. So it sort of saves time and money. However, in traditional drawing styles, people don't do that because it takes just as much effort to draw the mouth open properly and the mouth to one side technique. But, like I said, a lot of people on the internet these days who make fan games and fan art learn to draw from looking at anime, which there's nothing wrong with that. You want to learn to draw, you know, any source, that's good, but they are learning from that particular source, and that's a very clear indicator that they learned from this source. And I thought that was kind of neat when I first learned it, so I've shared it with you. This has been Learning with Token. Footprints lead to the body. This is what this is what I read before. So do I read? Was there something I missed here? Nope. Damn it. What am I missing? Is there some logic? I don't want to blow all of my stupid meter, because I've been a careless idiot on that. Can I examine the snowman again? Mr. Cameron's body was moved, if we consider the button he was holding on to. It's highly likely he was killed near this snowman. I should take a closer look. Ah, there we go. No rest until I've examined every suspicious-looking nook and cranny. Okay, footprints first. Why not?
There are some size 7 footprints going back and forth. According to the police files, these are the culprit's footprints.
Indeed, they seem to grow faint and disappear as they approach the road.
There's not much snow left on the road, after all.
As expected, it'll be difficult to determine who these footprints belong to. Let's look at the snowman.
This snowman has become a sad sight to look at.
It can't be helped. Snow and ice both melt away with time, just like my love.
Just like the mysteries of the cases you've solved, Edgeworth. As time passes, those mysteries melt away while you continue to keep your cool.
You do realize I'm racking my brain trying to solve those mysteries during a case. It's a compliment, Edgeworth. Come on now. It appears the outside of the facility was also decorated with flower beds.
Wow! So there are flowers that bloom in the winter. Snow is even piled up on the flower bed.
Indeed, it seems a little cold, and it gives a refined taste, even though it's just a recreation.
Indeed, it gives off a little cold, and the taste is quite refined, even if it's just a recreation.
Thanks, Kay. Have an original thought. Proud of you. The bucket, maybe? The scarf? That's probably just the snowman again. What the hell am I looking at? Not the gate. Yeah, that's the snowman. Those are all the footprints. Let me examine the... well, wait a minute. Ah, it's missing a brick.
Huh? There's a brick missing here.
Sneaky, sneaky. The rest are all in order. It's strange that only one is missing. Well, I've found what I need to examine in the logic. Well, when we come back, we'll be doing that. Thank you so much for watching. I've been Token Lab. Talk to you later. Shooting your shares here on Ask Clouds.